Your Samsung fridge is running, lights on, display working, but it's not cooling, or it's flashing an error code that won't quit, or the whole panel just stopped responding after the power came back on. Here's the thing: one viewer's fridge sat broken for almost 5 years before a simple reset fixed it in minutes. I am Jason from Simply Swider, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what to do on your Samsung model. Two universal steps that apply to every fridge, plus the model specific button combo that matches your control panel. Samsung control boards across different panel generations use completely different command sequences. The board on a family hub literally doesn't recognize the power freeze combination, so pressing it does nothing. That's why running the right one for your machine matters. Before we get into it, if you run into any questions, head over to help.simplyswider.com. Links in the description. By the end of this, you'll know precisely which buttons to press and in what order to get your fridge working again today. A reset clears software and control glitches, knocks out a stuck error code, wakes up an unresponsive panel, and kicks the control board back into normal operation. That covers a huge range of symptoms: random error codes after a power outage, a panel that won't respond to button presses, no cooling even though the display looks fine. A reset is genuinely the right first move for all of those. What it won't fix is anything physical: a failing compressor, a busted door seal, a damaged ribbon cable, a refrigerant problem. Those require hands on repair, not a button sequence. If you do the reset correctly and the same error code comes back within a few hours, that's not the reset failing. That's the fridge telling you there's a hardware fault underneath. The reset cleared the flag, it didn't clear the problem. One thing to do before you press anything, if you suspect it might be a real fault: take a photo of the display while the error code is still showing, every code you see. On most models, a reset wipes the control board's fault log, and that log is exactly the diagnostic data a technician needs. Reset first, and that evidence is gone for good. It costs you 10 seconds. I'll cover exactly what to do in that situation a little later. When we do the power cycle, you're going to unplug the fridge from the wall or switch off the dedicated circuit breaker if the outlet is hard to reach. Either works. And here's something a lot of videos skip: don't immediately start pressing buttons right after unplugging. The control board and inverter board both have capacitors that hold a charge, and the boards need time to fully discharge for the reset to clear properly. And it's also good practice before you ever open the unit. Give it the full wait time I'll specify and don't rush it. There are two things that apply to every Samsung fridge, no matter which model you have. And you should do both before anything else, because together they solve most of these cases. First, the power cycle. Unplug the fridge at the wall or switch off the breaker if you cannot reach the outlet. Then wait a full 10 minutes. This part matters more than it sounds. The control board holds a charge, and pulling the plug for a few seconds does not reset anything. 10 minutes, then plug it back in and let the fridge sit for a couple of minutes before you judge whether it worked. Second, the demo mode check. Demo mode, sometimes called shop mode, is what stores use to keep the lights and the panel running with the cooling switched off. If somebody triggered it by accident, your fridge looks completely alive and simply does not get cold. On a fridge with a display, you will see OF on the screen or the word demo. On a fridge without one, the temperature light blinks and you will notice the compressor never runs at all, even though everything else works. If you see either of those, demo mode is your entire problem and the fix is in that section, not in a reset. Now for the model specific resets. To find your path, ignore the buttons for a moment and look at the front of your fridge instead. Does it have a water or ice dispenser in the door? If yes, your control panel is on the dispenser itself, and you will use the dispenser panel resets. No dispenser, then open the fridge door. Your panel is inside along the top front edge of the fridge compartment, either on the ceiling or on the right-hand side near the hinge. That is the interior panel path, and a lot of people never find that panel because they only ever look at the outside of the door. And if the whole upper right door is a large touch screen, you have a family hub. And Family Hub has its own resets that work nothing like the button combinations. One warning before you get there: Family Hub has two levels of reset. The soft one is harmless. The deeper one wipes your Samsung account, your Wi Fi setup, and your app settings, and you will have to set the fridge up again from scratch. Know which one you are doing before you touch it. If you're ever unsure which model you actually have, open the fridge and look at the left inside wall down near the bottom, or behind the lowest drawer. There is a label there with the full model code. Let's start with the dispenser panel resets. This is the one everybody starts with because it works on every Samsung fridge ever made. Unplug the refrigerator from the wall outlet, or if you can't reach the plug, switch off the dedicated circuit breaker. Either way works. Now comes the part people get wrong. Wait a full 5 minutes minimum, not 30 seconds, whatever other videos tell you. The control board and inverter board have capacitors that hold a charge, and they need 5 to 10 minutes to fully discharge. That discharge is the actual reset. Rush it, and the board's never really clear. After the wait, plug the unit back in or flip the breaker back on and let the fridge reinitialize on its own. You should see cooling begin within a few hours, but full temperature stabilization takes 12 to 24 hours. So don't judge this reset as a failure until a full 24 hours have passed. When it works, both boards reboot from a completely discharged state. The minor software glitches and stuck error states are gone and cooling comes back on its own. Přepis demo mode sekce s pozičním větvením. TTS safe, bez symbolů a zkratek. Demo mode before you do anything else. Make sure you are actually dealing with demo mode because this is where people waste the most time and money. The lights are on, the panel responds, and nothing is getting cold. That sounds like demo mode. The problem is that a dead compressor looks exactly the same from the outside. So does a failed start relay. You cannot tell them apart just by the lights being on. And this is the reason people get quoted for a compressor replacement when the actual fix takes 10 seconds. Here is what settles it. Look at the display. If the fridge is in demo mode, it will tell you. You will see the letters OFF or OFOF, or on some panels the word demo. On a model with no display, watch the temperature light. It blinks and the compressor never runs at all. Not once, not even briefly. No OFF on the screen and no blinking light, then this is not demo mode and the next few minutes will not help you. Go back to the compressor and relay sections. If you do see it, here is how you get out. Which method you use depends on which kind of panel you have, so find yours first. Standard panel, no touch screen. This is most Samsung fridges. Samsung does not identify these buttons by name, and that is deliberate because the labels change between models and countries. What does not change is where the buttons sit. Look at the graphic on screen now. Press and hold the two marked buttons at the same time and keep holding until you hear a chime. If nothing happens, hold the three marked buttons instead. Again until the chime. That second combination is the one most guides leave out, and it is often the one that works. Bespoke panel. Hold the left and right arrow buttons together for 6 seconds, then press the circle button. That toggles cooling off mode. Bespoke with a fermentation compartment. The panel has to be unlocked first. Hold the lock button for 3 seconds, then hold ferment, preserve, and lock together for 5 seconds. Family Hub, there is no button combination here at all. Go to Apps, open Fridge Manager, tap Fridge Settings, then Cooling Off deactivate, then Proceed. If cooling off is on, Fridge Manager shows the word off against every compartment, which is a quick way to confirm it before you change anything. You will know it worked when the OFF disappears and a normal temperature reading comes back. Now, a warning, and take this one seriously. If the combination does not work, stop. Do not start trying random pairs of buttons to see what happens. Some of those holds turn demo mode on rather than off, and a fridge you have accidentally switched into demo mode looks completely normal while your food sits at room temperature. That is a food safety problem, not an inconvenience. Get your model number from the label on the left inside wall near the bottom and look up the combination for that specific model. Once you are out, check it the same way as the power cycle. Within the first hour, the compressor should be running and you should feel cold air. If it is running, leave it alone for a full 24 hours before you judge the temperature and keep the door shut. If you have an ice maker, give that a full day as well. It has to reinitialize and it will not produce ice immediately, which people regularly mistake for a second fault. One last thing, demo mode is not a fault and nothing broke. It exists so shops can display a fridge with the lights on and the compressor off. It does not switch itself on, it takes a specific button hold, which is usually somebody at home pressing and holding a couple of buttons while cleaning the panel or trying to change a setting. Sabbath mode. There is one more hidden mode worth knowing, and it is the mirror image of this one. Sabbath mode gives you cooling with no lights. The display goes dark, the interior lights stay off. The dispenser and the ice maker stop responding. Alarms are silenced and the compressor keeps running. It is designed to stop the fridge reacting when the door opens. If that is your pattern, cold inside and dead on the outside, nothing is broken. It usually toggles off the same way it went on, and on Family Hub it is in the settings menu. The combination varies by model, so look it up rather than guessing. Everything I just said about not mashing buttons applies here too. Now the button combination reset. Two things before you start. First, do this after the power cycle, not instead of it. The combination on its own often gives you a partial reset, and then you spend the next day thinking it failed. Unplug first, wait the 10 minutes, plug back in. Then this. Second, write down anything the display is showing you right now. Error codes, current temperature settings, anything unusual. The reset wipes the board's fault history, and that history is the only diagnostic information the fridge was giving you. Once it is gone, and if you end up calling a technician, that code was the most useful thing you had. Now, which buttons? This depends on your panel, and this is where most guides go wrong by naming two buttons as if every Samsung had them. If your panel has buttons labeled Power Freeze and Power Cool, use those two. Press and hold both at the same time for a slow count of 10. If it does not, look at your panel and find the top two buttons in the group, whatever they are labeled on your model. On a lot of these, that is freezer and fridge. Hold those two the same way. If nothing happens after 10 seconds, add the bottom button of the group and hold all three together. That three button version is left out of almost every guide, and it is often the one that actually works. You will know it worked when the display blanks and comes back, or you hear a chime and the temperature readings return. Then one step that almost everybody skips. Set your temperatures again manually, even if the numbers on the display already look right. The panel can show you a cached number while the board underneath has gone back to a default. Press through the temperature settings and set them deliberately. If you skip this, the fridge runs on whatever the board decided, and later you will swear the reset did not work. After that, check it in two stages, same as before. Within the first hour, the compressor should be running and you should feel cold air. If it is running, give it a full 24 hours before you judge the temperature. Ice Maker takes a day too, and if you get through all of this and the same error code comes back within a few hours, stop. That is not a reset that failed. That is the reset working exactly as it should and telling you the fault is in hardware, not software. The reset cleared the flag, it could not clear the condition causing it. At that point, you are calling a technician and you will be glad you wrote the code down. No power freeze and power cool on your panel. Then look for the ice type and filter reset buttons. If those are what you've got, this is your reset. Press and hold both of them at the same time. Keep holding both buttons until the display responds or you hear a chime. That's somewhere in the 5 to 10-second range. Then release them and let the unit reinitialize. That's it for the reset itself. The control panel resets, the filter reminder clears, and the ice maker kicks off its reinitialization cycle. Now, ice production can take up to 24 hours to come back after this, and that's completely normal. It's not a sign something went wrong. The ice maker is just working through its reinitiation sequence and it'll resume normal operation on its own. Give it the full 24 hours before you start second guessing it. If you've got a family hub model, slow down for a second because there are three different resets here and they are not interchangeable. Running the wrong one can wipe data you didn't mean to touch. First up is the screen only reset, and it's the gentlest one. It restarts the display panel and doesn't touch refrigeration at all. Open the right door and look inside the door jamb for a small red switch. Press it and the screen panel resets. That's the whole procedure. If your problem is a frozen or glitchy touchscreen, start here. Next is the network only reset. Use this one when the fridge won't connect or keeps fighting with your Wi-Fi. Press and hold the lock button on the Family Hub display for about 12 seconds until the display shows the characters A and R, then release. That clears the network settings and nothing else. Apps and household data all stay put. And then there's the full factory data reset. And I want to be really clear about this one. It's a last resort and it's irreversible. On the touch screen, go into Settings, then About Family Hub, and then Factory Data Reset and confirm it. That permanently deletes every network setting, every app configuration, and all your household data, and you'll be setting the hub up again from scratch like it just came out of the box. Only go there when the screen reset and the network reset have both failed. Once the reset is complete, give the fridge a few minutes to reinitialize before you start evaluating anything. You should hear the compressor kick on, the evaporator fans start spinning, and if your model has an ice maker, you may hear it cycling. The display should settle and show normal temperature readings. The fridge needs 12 to 24 hours to get back to proper temp. Check your model's manual for the exact figure. Give the ice maker a full day before expecting ice. Samsung's documentation specifies up to 24 hours for French door models. I had a customer call me back the morning after a reset convinced it hadn't worked because there was no ice yet. Told her to wait until that evening. She called back full bin. That's the most common way a successful reset gets misdiagnosed as a failure. Do the reset, walk away, check back the next day. If you reset and then start pressing buttons again because it doesn't seem to be working, you risk toggling demo mode or Sabbath mode on, which makes things actively worse. If the error code has returned or cooling hasn't stabilized after 24 hours, you've done everything the reset can do. Move on to the next section. If cooling hasn't stabilized after 24 hours or the same error code came back within a few hours of the reset, here's what that pattern means. The reset is working exactly as it should. It's clearing the software fault flag, but the underlying hardware condition is still there, so the board throws the code again almost immediately. It's a hardware problem, not a software one. The most common culprits are the control board itself, the inverter board, or the compressor. I'll tell you what I hear when each one is going. A failing compressor on the Samsung twin cooling units often starts with a clicking sound on startup, the start relay trying to kick the compressor over and failing, followed by silence when you do expect the compressor to be running. Inverter board faults are sometimes quieter, the fridge just doesn't cool and there's no obvious sound pattern. I've seen that one misdiagnosed as a refrigerant issue more than once. Handling refrigerant legally requires EPA 608 certification. That's federal law, not a suggestion. The compressor internals are effectively off limits for the same reason. You can't service them without touching the sealed system. Control board replacement is a reasonable DIY job for someone comfortable with appliance repair. Inverter board is similar. But don't keep resetting. You're not going to reset your way out of a hardware problem. And repeated power cycling puts stress on the compressor start components. Call a pro. And this is where that photo of the error codes I told you to take before resetting earns its keep. Have those codes ready for the appointment. That's the diagnostic data the technician needs to trace the fault. That's how you reset a Samsung refrigerator. Start with the universal power cycle, full 5 minutes unplugged. Then check for demo mode if the fridge has lights but no cooling, and then move to the button combo reset that matches your specific control panel. Most of the time, you'll be sorted in those first couple of steps. If the same error code returns within a few hours after a correct reset, that's your signal to stop resetting. It's a hardware fault, not a software glitch, and the previous section covers exactly what to do next. If this got your fridge working again, leave your model number in the comments. It helps other people with the same machine confirm they're running the right reset. One last thing, a surge protector rated for refrigerators runs around $20 to $50. A Samsung control board replacement is $150 to $400 in parts alone. If your fridge is on an unprotected outlet, that's an easy call.